Well, good evening. Welcome to Thursday evening devotions from around the kitchen table, where for the last several weeks we've been talking about the stories behind some of our favorite hymns, many of which were written after some tragic circumstance or events in the author's life. When we hear the story behind the particular hymn or particular song, it perhaps helps us understand why that hymn is, or that song is so meaningful to us. Perhaps we've experienced a similar tragedy or something tragic or hurtful or harmful in our lives, and that song gives meaning to our lives. Well, this evening I'm going to share with you the story behind one of the beloved hymns of the church. It's a hymn the words were written by Joseph Scriven. The hymn is titled, "What a Friend We Have in Jesus." And it's a beautiful song with comforting words and words that help to bring us into the presence of God and to feel God's healing hand in our lives. Words that bring peace to our soul. And it's a wonderful prayer as well. It's a reminder for us that whatever we go through in our lives, we need to present those things to God, especially those things that we are grieving about or mourning about. Well, this story then begins like this. That looks like a sober man. I think I'll hire him to cut wood for me. That was said about a man on the streets of Lake Rice in Canada as he walked along carrying a wood saw and a sawhorse. And the response from another man nearby was, "Listen, that man carrying the sawhorse and the wood saw is Joseph Scriven. He would not cut wood for you because you can't afford to hire him. He only cuts wood for those who don't have enough money to pay." And that seemed to be the philosophy and attitude of Scriven, who was a devoted member of the Plymouth Brethren Church. He had a sincere desire to help those who were truly destitute. Joseph Scriven was born on September the 10th, 1819 in Ireland. His parents were wealthy enough to provide a wonderful education for him. He was enrolled in the Trinity College in Dublin, where he graduated with a bachelor's degree. In this young man, Ireland had the prospect of a great citizen with high ideals and notable aspirations. He fell in love with a young woman who was just eager to spend her life with him. However, on the day before their wedding, she fell from a horse while crossing a bridge over the river Bon and was drowned in the water below. And Joseph stood helplessly watching from the other side. There was nothing he could do. Tragic event. Can you imagine such a thing happening to someone? In an effort to overcome his sorrow, by the age of 25, he began to wander. And his travels had taken him to an area near Port Hope in Canada. While he was there, he became highly regarded by the people of the area. He tutored some of the local school children with their schoolwork. It was there he met another wonderful young woman by the name of Eliza Rausch. And again he fell in love, and they had excited plans to be married. However, tragedy reared its ugly head once again in Joseph's life, and his bride-to-be died of pneumonia before they could be wed. Following some depression, as you might expect, Joseph then labored in Port Hope among the impoverished widows and sick people. He often served for no wages, even shared his clothes with those who were less fortunate than himself. On one occasion, when Joseph became ill, a friend who was visiting with him discovered a poem near Joseph's bedside and asked who had written it. And Scriven said, "The Lord and I did it between us." Joseph thought that the poem would perhaps bring some spiritual comfort to his mother, who still lived in Ireland. Scriven had not intended that anyone else should see it. It was just meant for his mother and him. He called the poem "Pray Without Ceasing." Later it was set to music and renamed by Charles Converse, and it then became the hymn that we know, "What a Friend We Have in Jesus." On August the 10th, 1886, Scriven's body was pulled from a body of water near Bewdley, Ontario. No one knows whether or not it was intentional or if it was an accident. All they know was that he was in deep depression and struggling with bouts of depression. After his death, 2 monuments were erected in his honor, and each of those monuments contains the first stanza of the song, of his song, engraved on it. The words are, "What a friend we have in Jesus, all our sins and griefs to bear. What a privilege to carry everything to God in prayer. Oh, what peace we often forfeit, oh, what needless pain we bear, all because we do not carry everything to God in prayer." And then also Paul's letter to the Romans, chapter 15, verse 1. "We then that are strong ought to bear the infirmities of the weak, and not to please ourselves." But Scriven's words are true, isn't it? We have a friend in Jesus, and it's a privilege that he is willing to bear our sins and our griefs and our sorrows. And we do forfeit a lot of peace, don't we? We struggle needlessly, and we carry around a lot of pain just because we don't share it in prayer with God. Well, it's my prayer for you that you take those words of Scriven to heart, and that no matter what the circumstances, whether you're happy and blessed or whether you're in sorrow or discouraged and frustrated, to take those things and share them with God in prayer. I pray that God continues to richly bless you during this Memorial Day weekend as we reflect on those who have made a sacrifice for us so that we can continue to live the lifestyle that we live. Have a great and blessed week.